Hey everybody, welcome to Allen House Sound. I'm Dave, and today we're going to talk about how we use this historic building every Sunday for church. Let's jump in. So not too long ago, I did a video where you were kind of watching over my shoulder as I did a sound check, and I showed just a glimpse of this building, and it is quite an exquisite building, and I'd love to do a full video just on this building, just to capture the historic nature of what we get to use every week. It's got beautiful chandeliers, amazing paintings and ceiling work and detail work, and it's going to be doing a full renovation in the next few years. But the important thing that you guys asked about was, we're a set up and tear down church. We set up and tear down every week, and so do many of you, and you wanted to see how I've been able to build in some efficiencies, some just to see how we do what we do in this space. So I want to take you in. There's not a whole lot of light in this space, so I'm going to grab my extra flashlight thing, and we're going to dive in and just kind of walk you through all the ins and outs of what we do on a weekly basis, how we've been able to pre-wire as much as possible to make our setup and tear down as seamless and as easy as possible. So without further ado, we're going to jump through these doors. We're going to go into the actual theater, and we'll start talking about all the ins and outs of what we've put together over the past couple of years in this space. All right, now it is dark in here because I don't have any of the lights turned on. You can kind of see a glimpse of the screen if you really squint your eyes. And we have some lights over on the sides, but I don't have any of the overhead lights turned on right now. But we're gonna see, because we'll be backstage and just in the middle of this, in the middle of the seat up here, we'll see if we can get what we need to. So to start off, we're down here in the seats. We're about 70 feet from stage, which is 2/3 of the way back in these seats. And down here, if I can get a little closer, what we have down here is a metal box that I built, put some hinges on it, and it lives under the floor. And what we have is power. We've got SDI, we've got 2 Cat5 cables and a DMX cable. Now we've got to upgrade this here soon enough for some more camera runs, but for right now, this gives us a way that we have cables run through the air vent tunnels. So if I back up and look right here, this little red hump is part of the ventilation system. And there's actually tunnels that go underneath these seats and allow us to run these cables in a sealed up fashion. And this thing gets kicked, and you can see it looks like it's got gum on it. It is pretty disgusting. If you want a gummy bear or a Swedish fish, there's one right there for you. So just off to the side of the, that's the theater in there in the black space. But just off the side, we've got access to a closet space. Now, it's not a huge closet space, but we've tried to work well with what we're given. So if I come in here, so we have some rack space. This is where we keep a lot of our just knickknacks and doodads for our greeting team and our communion area. We've got some water bottles. And then this right here, as an example, this is our tech stuff here. We've got a black bin and a white bin, and that's for that holds our lighting console, and then cables. These 2 bins go back to that tech booth area that we just looked at the cable connections in the floor. And so there's a lot of other things that are in here. We've got our first aid. We're gonna add a little bit more light. So we've got a first aid kit down here. We've got some of the other things, but we tend to house everything and label everything in boxes. That just makes it more streamlined and a lot easier from a week-to-week basis. Now, the next thing we've got back here is, if I can get you up high enough. So we've got our soundboard here, which apparently is holding a leaf blower on top of it, but they blow all the leaves and stuff, try to make the entranceway look as clean as possible. We do have our subs, which are back here. That's the QSC 18-inch subs we use. Our projector lives in a road case back there as well. This thing to the left, with these PVC pipes attached. That's actually our projector stand. And then we have some card tables down here, not the big white one, but this square one right here. That is, we have 3 of those, and those get transported out into the middle of the theater and set up. One is for lights, one's for soundboard, and one is for Pro Presenter. So our Pro Presenter person comes in, and they handle the projector stand, and their table. The lighting person comes in, gets their table and the 2 boxes, and then the soundboard person gets the subs, the soundboard, and their table. Well, let's go look backstage real quick. All right, so as we come through these doors, we're going to come into the green room area, which is just backstage. So you can see we've got steps which go up to the outside doors. I do want to take you guys up this stairwell to the right at some point, because I'd love to go to the orchestra room and do a full video on that. But this is the backstage area. This is where we do pre-service powwow. There's another one that looks just like this on the other side. We don't use the other side. We just kind of live here. But down over here, we have these amp racks you can see. These amp racks are pre-wired. These racks are for the movie theater amplifiers that handle the Dolby surround sound, all of the connections for their front speakers and such. But it is nice. It's got breakers on it that we can, a bunch of breakers, I believe 8 to be exact. And you can see back here the back of some stuff that we have pre-wired. So we've been granted the ability to use this section here. So we've got a power conditioner, and we'll see this on the other side as well. Power conditioner, we've got some wireless mics and a wireless in-ear setup. We have a Behringer headphone amplifier. We've got our stage box, it's digital stage box. Then we have another power conditioner near the bottom, and we have a DMX splitter at the bottom as well. We have our wireless router here. This is how we stream. We have a cable that goes, this gray cable actually to be exact, goes up this wall, way up to the ceiling, all the way up there, and goes all the way over to the projection booth, which is way far away. So that's how we get internet. The internet comes into the projection booth, comes all the way back here, but it is pre-wired into this space. So let's go around to the front and show you what we've got access to there. So if I hold these curtains back, you can see the front of the amp rack here. They've got all of their amplifiers and such in here, all of their speakers pre-wire down here into the speak-on connectors. But now we start to talk about our gear, and so if we look over here on the right-hand side, you can see that we've got our wireless in-ear monitor at the top. We've got 2 wireless microphones on the next rack down. Then you can see the Behringer headphone amplifier, the S32 Snake, and then down here we've got our DMX router and such. You do see that we've got wireless DMX that we run. There are only 2 things that stay pre-wired on the stage here. Everything else that we do runs wirelessly. But look at this, we've got analog snakes down here, and we have 3 of these of different sizes throughout the stage. And so this just happens to be a quick 8-channel drop box or analog snake, and we only use 4, but you can see how they are pre-wired. So we have AG acoustic guitar. I'll spin you all around, hold on just a second. So you can see we've got AG for acoustic guitar, aux, which is an auxiliary input, Vox 1 and Vox 3, because Vox 2 is on the other side of the stage. Now those pre-wire, and if we come up here to our digital snake, you can see some labels up here. So you can see we've got kick and snare top, snare bottom. And so all of these cables that are, you'll see labeled channel 4, 5, 6, 7, things like that. These are analog snakes that are pre-wired throughout the stage. We have 3 of them, 1 on each side of the stage and 1 in the back middle. So again, we've got a lot of luxury of being able to have things pre-wired. We come in, we flip our gear on, and then we can just plug into these pre-wired, pre-labeled stage boxes, and that gets us a really, really good head start. So if we come over to this middle back area, you'll also see another analog snake, and we do run monitors back because we've only got 2 wireless in-ear monitors and the rest are hardwired. But you can see we've got kick snare, snare top, snare bottom, we've got bass. So we've got some different things that are pre-cabled, pre-set up. They're already working. Some of this is incorrect because the service that we just did this past week, we did a much smaller acoustic setup and we changed things. But down here at the bottom, we have our bass monitor here, and then this is our drum monitor. And so we just have headphone extensions that are pre-wired, pre-cabled in here, and they run back to where, like this bass monitor one runs with this XLR cable back to where the bass normally stands. And so there's a DI box there and then the headphone connection. And so they're pretty much set to go. They can plug in their bass to the DI box, plug in their in-ears, and they've got what they need. They just control all of the board wirelessly through the phone on the app, the MXQ app, and that's how they mix their monitors. Now backstage also you can see our backdrops are pre-set up back here, which is also kind of nice. Now we've done as much as we can to pre-wire these, so we do have LED light bars that are pre-wired. You can see this is just a wooden rack, which actually has the ability that this side swings up and gets tall, just like this tall one here. So we have 4 of these. We can flank them on either side of the stage. We can keep them tight in the middle, which is typically what we do right now. And then our backdrop just changes. So whatever we were gonna do, we attach to this stuff. The light stays the same, and we can just change the decorative item that's on it. Right now, you can see we have white string, which is kind of zigzagging across, and that's capturing the light to help create a really neat effect. I'll maybe put a snapshot from a recent service in here just so you can see what this looks like. But it just changed 2 weeks ago, so that's pretty neat. But we've got those pre-wired, but behind this you can see a little white thing peeking through the rip in the curtain, and that's actually our screen that we use for our projector. So that lives back here in the way back. The bird has been really generous to allow us to keep things back here. You can see that we've got the main thoroughfare cleared so that their projectionist can walk back here, forward and back. We do have these service lights that they've put in, which is really nice to help us to see until our stage is set up. Now the next thing we've got is more storage. So if I come back here, also back behind this curtain, we have, there we go, a piece of wood, a rack with kind of broom handle storage put on it. And this is where all of our microphone stands live. We do try to keep those off the floor. And then we do have, got some music stands that live down here. All of our tripod stands and everything live up here. That's backstage, is kept neat and tidy. And then back here, these are our top cabinets. So you saw the subs are in our main closet, but this is where our top cabinets live. These are the QSC 15-inch 3-way tops. We talked about these a little bit. Oh, there we go. So they've got a horn, a 10-inch driver, and then a 15-inch woofer in those. But you can see we keep them on movers dollies. These movers dollies are about $11 from Harbor Freight, and what we did is we added an extra piece of plywood on top to give a nice surface to set this on. We went for years with just the regular dolly, and you had to negotiate the front and the back, and it was really sketchy. So extra piece of plywood on there really made a big difference. We do have some storage back over here. This is an amplifier kind of ISO box. And it's not really an ISO box, but you can see it's just it's built out of 2x6. It's got some handles on the top, and it's got foam all on the inside. And we can just set this in front of our guitar amplifier. Sometimes they play an AC-15. Sometimes they've got a dual 12 Fender amp, depending on who's playing. But we'll set that on the side of the stage, and we can set this in front of it. We just mic it from the front, and then we put the back of the amplifier. If I turn you guys back over here, this curtain is set up and is pretty thick when it's pulled back. So the back of the amplifier shoots into this. The amplifier faces this way, which is kind of on stage so that they can hear it, but we've got the cover in front of it. So there is a little bit of stage volume. The drums sit right over here as well. And so all of the stage volume kind of comes from this side. The rest of the stage is silent. We do have another pre-wired box over here, you can see, but our all-important batteries. Got our rechargeable batteries. These do stay plugged in during the week, and they are charged and ready to go on Sunday mornings for us, which is really nice. All right, the last thing I want to show you is back here. This is our additional storage, and this is where we keep our toolbox, which has all kinds of knickknacks and doodads in it. We've got some iPad holders, which are nice for us. We've got a box for some Beta 58 that we just bought. Not sure why that's here. We've got extra cables, and this is unorganized because this is mostly dead cables, except for this nice 1/4 inch right here that our guitarist uses. The important stuff is in here, so we keep our wireless microphones and in-ear packs in here. We have, what's in here? We've got some extra extension cables. We've got the Shure in-ears that we provide for our people. Hey, a capo. That's kind of like gold. You can see some people put their in-ears back in, some people don't, so that's great. All the extra bits and pieces are in here. Also, alcohol pads. We provide in-ears for people as they're getting started. We do recommend that they buy their own, but we have bought a number of pairs across the years, and I tell them we don't clean them. So if you're going to share ear funk with people, clean them yourself. What else do we have in here? We've got some extra cables that are in here. Got a shaker, got a hi-hat clutch because apparently we lost one. We've got picks, got cymbal pads. So we've just got kind of miscellaneous things. The important part is this right here. All of our cables live in the cable box. We live the spool lifestyle, so we've got big orange spools that all of our cables spool onto. Those are organized, one for drums, 2 of them for instruments, and 1 for vocals. We've got power cords here, so if you're looking for power cords, you've got them. This is our mic box, typical mic box. So we've got our drum mics in here. We've got vocal mics. We've got some overhead mics. We also keep our DI boxes in here as well, and an extra 1/4 inch. So this is where all of our mics and DI boxes live, which gives people a consistent place to come to. So again, we set up, we tear down. If we had to put this into a trailer, it would live the exact same way. We would just probably have some additional movers, dollies for the cables, the power cords, those kind of boxes. The toolbox would live in the trailer. The top speakers would live in the trailer. You know, if I try to think as a person that would be setting up and tearing down every week, rolling in, rolling out with a trailer and a pickup truck or a van, what would I do? Obviously the backdrop stuff back here, that would be a little bit different, but I think we'd keep it the same. We would just have to position it to make sure it gets into the trailer well. You know, having the tops that fold down, the design or the structure, you know, like right here where we're crossing this break and pivot point with our current design, that might not be something we could do, so that they could fold backwards and down and live more in a shorter fashion like this. You do see we've got this carriage bolt in the middle right here. Just a little side note, that carriage bolt is so that when you flip it up, you can put the carriage bolt through, and that holds it steady and tight, and it keeps it safe. But as I think about what I would do in a trailer scenario, that's what I would do. I would keep things on dollies. I would be efficient about rolling in and rolling out. We do have the luxury, even though we set up and tear down every week, we do have the luxury of having all of the stuff kind of set up. We pull it out. We've got an efficient system. We have process documents. I said process documents. We've got process documents that are on a small website that's hidden on our church's website. And those process docs are available for all of our technicians. So our sound tech, our lighting tech, person running ProPresenter, the person that runs our camera gear. We didn't talk about camera gear. I'll talk about that in just a second. But we have a QR code at each person's station. They can scan the QR code, and that takes them directly to the process doc that they can then figure out where things are. So if we have a new person that's only run maybe a time or two and they've got some more questions, we ask them to refer to that process doc first. It's a self-service tool, really helps them out, and it's something that we spent time putting together. The last thing I want to show you is down in the orchestra pit. So let's go down there. We'll take a look at the some of the camera stuff that's down there, our courtesy monitor, and then we'll talk last about the cables and how those cables get from that tech area up here to stage. So as we come back out from backstage, we're coming up to the Orchestra Pit. Again, the lights aren't on in here, but you can see the main movie screen here. And we're going to go down into this Orchestra Pit. Now, the Orchestra Pit is not designed for an orchestra. It holds an amazing Wurlitzer organ. We'll just bypass some of this stuff and take a quick look at the Wurlitzer, which is right down here. Some of you all will find this fascinatingly amazing. It's on a hydraulic lift and is original and piped into everything. Again, part of the tour I would love to give. Our church's drum kit sits right over there. Pearl Export EXL kit with some couple different things on it. We're not going to talk those details, but what we do have is a table down here which holds our... All right, so this in here has an extra DMX splitter just in case the one on stage breaks. We also have our ATEM TV Studio HD video switcher and a power conditioner. And if you look in here, you'll see a bunch of cables in there. Everything is kind of pre-wired in the box, pre-labeled. And so this ends up going up onto the tech area as well. Sits right at the lighting table, and we've got a screen here that sets up, which is our multi-view monitor that gets plugged into that. So the power is in there for that. But all of the cables, all the converters that go from this video switcher into ProPresenter, because we stream through ProPresenter, that's in here. So we use the Aja UTEP, which goes from SDI to USB. We also have XLR cables that go from here into our soundboard, because we use Mixbus into the ATEM, which then sends from the ATEM across the Aja UTEP into ProPresenter. But all of this stuff just gets carried up, set up there. We do have some boxes down here. We used to have our video switcher set up down here in the pit with comms and everything, but we've kind of trimmed back some stuff a little bit in the process. So we've got an iPad that's down here in this box. That's what we use for our courtesy monitor, and we unplug that and then we stick it up right here, and we have this 40-inch TV which we just rest up on this table and up against this wall here, and then you can see our dongle here, which converts Lightning to HDMI, and we can plug our Lightning cable into charge. And so that just sits right there, and that is our courtesy monitor, which cannot be viewed by the people sitting out there, but it can be viewed by the people on stage, which is real nice right there. So that just kind of lives there. All right, now I'm not going to zoom in because it's going to look really grainy, but the last thing to talk about is how do we get our cables from that metal box that are out there in the seats up here to the backstage? And the answer is through the air vent tunnel. Now, we talked about this previously, but we have SDI, we have power, we have DMX, and we've got some Cat 5 shielded cables that run, and they run under the tunnel, over to that side, up from the basement, and then they come through this lighting trough right here. And you can see some of our cabling is kind of intermingled with all of this other cable, but we have some cables in there that go right back here, because backstage there is right where our amp racks are that we were looking at. And so they are pre-wired in as much as possible so that we don't have to run Cat 5 cables and power cables and such from the front to the back or any of that stuff on a weekly basis. We do have some of it pre-wired. All right, well, that's it for this tour of how my church uses this historic movie theater and how we've pre-wired and set up as much stuff as possible to make the tech experience on a weekly basis efficient and streamlined. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you've got questions about any of the stuff that we've talked about, go ahead and leave that in the comment section down below. I'm happy to answer those questions. And if you would like to have some one-on-one support with any of your setup needs, go ahead and look in the description. That's also below. You'll find a link to my website, and the contact card is a way that we can start a conversation outside of YouTube to get you the help you need. Well, make sure to share this video with somebody. If you'd like to see more about this amazing building, go ahead and leave that comment down below as well. Let me know that you're interested in seeing some of the amazing architecture and detail that's in this building here and in this facility. But that's it for this video. Hope to see you in the next one. We'll catch you soon. Peace.